Hello, I thought I'd read the second part of the story, The Girl in the Roundabout, and I thought I'd go back a little bit and read where the girl is thinking and speaking. Okay, here we go. Glasses on. It's late, he said. No, it's not. I'll get into your car if you take me for a drive. We could go to the sea. It's not far. She hadn't been to the seaside for a long time, not since her father had taken them on a picnic. He had a black car then. It wasn't her fault she got lost. She had wanted to see what was beyond the rocks at the other end of the beach, and when she got there and looked and saw that it was just another beach. So she turned back, but try as she did, and she tried ever so hard, she couldn't find her parents. She had looked everywhere. She did. She did. The beach was crowded, black with people. It wasn't her fault that she couldn't find them. The policeman had been very nice. It was he who had found them, and not they who had found her. Her father had shouted at her all the way home and said he'd never take her out in the car again. She never liked that black car anyway. But now he had a red one. She liked red cars. She liked them best of all. The kind-looking man's car was red. He could drive her to the seaside, and she wouldn't have to beg her father to take her in his new red car. The kind-looking man's car was bigger than her father's. They didn't talk much while driving, and it was nice because she didn't feel like talking. His hands were warm, and she liked him stroking her knee. Her father used to do that, but that was before her mother caught him. She was very, very cross. The kind-looking man hand moved further up her skin. She edged down in the seat so that he could slip his hand further up her thigh, the way her father had. She felt warm and cozy, and her heart was doing strange things again, like before, and it was nice. The car was slowing down now, and she peered out to the window to get a glimpse of the sea, but the black trees were in the way. The car stopped. It was very dark, and she couldn't see a thing. But she heard the kind-looking man breathing heavily, just like her father. She didn't like that. It had always frightened her. She tried to push his hand away. No, she wasn't going to let him pull down her panties because her father had hurt her when he did. Again she tried to put his hand away, but he was too strong for her. Now he was struggling at her panties. His headache was better. It hadn't been his fault. The girl was lonely, and he had felt sorry for her. It was her parents' fault. She shouldn't have been out so late that night. Sorry, I'm stumbling a bit. Obviously, they didn't bother about her. Probably didn't love her either. Everyone needs love. Nobody had ever loved him. Nobody had ever shown him the slightest bit of affection. Sorry, 2 pages are stuck. I'll just... It's funny how that happens, isn't it? I'll just go back. Nobody had ever shown him the slightest bit of affection, except for his little cousin Sandy. He had liked getting into her bed and doing the things they did. He wouldn't forget what happened that night. He never would. Normally he and Sandy heard the footsteps as his mother came up the stairs on her way to bed, and he would rush out of her room and into his. But not that night. "You dirty little slut," came the screech from the open doorway. Both of them shot up in bed and stared at his mother in unbelieving horror. "Out! Downstairs with you! As for you, I'll deal with you later." She had slapped Sandy hard on the cheek as she passed. The sound reverberated in the now silent room for what seemed like an age. He lay in bed trembling, listening to the terrible row going on downstairs, and next day Sandy was sent home, and he got the spanking of his life. Not one word was she allowed to say to him before she left, but she could have written to him. Both their parents died years ago. Why hadn't she written? After all, it was she who enticed him into her bed, and it was she who taught him all those wonderful things. He missed her so much, missed what they had together. Little cousin Sandy. He sat in his car, staring at the trees. The girl on the roundabout had scratched his hand and made him bleed. She had struggled more than the other girl he met last month. All he had wanted to do was to show her he cared. The same with the girl tonight. Why did it always turn out this way? It hadn't been his fault. He was tired now that the throbbing in his head had stopped. He would go home and get a good night's sleep. We never know each other, do we? It's a big enough job getting to know ourselves, our deep inner selves, and for that reason, I'm going to contemplating having hypnosis, just to see what's going on. It's nothing to do with the story I've just read, but it just shows, to me, that nothing and people are not as they seem. Okay, take care. Bye.